Today we're going over the version 2.2 special program for Honkai Star Rail. It feels like this one came earlier than usual. It is also possible I've just lost all sense of time, but I digress. It's here and we're gonna go over it. As usual, we start out with the trailer. We see a gunslinger that's at least new to me, and then this other character, which I'm not gonna talk about because maybe spoilers, but seems like we might be getting the Pop Idol update. I should be posting this on the same day the special program went live, so redemption codes will be in the comments below. Though if you're seeing this a day later, they'll probably be expired. As mentioned in the version 2.0 special program, the main story is continuing in version 2.2, and we will be getting a new area as well. We got a pretty neat, concert hall looking thing here. As we saw from the trailer, this will probably be one of the focal points of version 2.2. But yeah, moving on to the new characters we're going to be getting. Robin, of course. So she is a physical Harmony character. Harmony is my favorite class. It feels like too soon for another Harmony already after Sparkle, but I am for it. What does she actually do though? They start with her technique point, which sounds pretty interesting. So she'll make an aura around her, and when enemies enter this aura, they won't attack you. Instead, they will follow you wherever you go. You know, that does kind of sound like Pop Idol lyrics, so it's pretty fitting. After entering battle with one of the enemies in this ring, she will gain extra energy. As usual, they are pretty light on the details, but her skill is very similar to Ron May's in that she'll give the entire team a damage buff. Based on those three little points down there, we can assume it lasts 3 turns. Her talent, or sort of passive ability, allows her to recover more energy when her allies attack enemies, which sounds like a very strong thing for a Harmony character because it's typically the ultimate in a Harmony character's kit that's the most important. Wow, okay, so her ultimate does sound pretty insane. The way they described it, it looks like a 100% action advancement for the entire team. And since it's tied to ultimate, you can time this perfectly, like after the last person goes and before all the enemies go, do her ultimate, and then everyone basically just gets an extra turn. That's kind of crazy. Outside of the action advancement on her burst, there are other benefits that go specifically to Robin. She will do additional damage when allies hit enemies. I'm not sure right now if this will count as a follow-up attack or simply some extra numbers tacked on. She will also be 100% immune to crowd control debuffs. Again, sounds very nice for a support. So yeah, that's her kit. I would say at worst, she's going to be an amazing support, and depending on the finer details like the actual percent of damage buff, how much energy, and how often she can do her ultimate, she could be absolutely broken. Star Rail is not shy about releasing new characters that are stronger than the old characters. So I'm personally guessing closer to the latter here. Robin will also be releasing a music album. You know, I might unironically listen to it. Anyway, the other new character for version 2.2 is Boothill. When I first heard his name, I had a chuckle because boot is a funny word, but yeah, Boothill. I'm a bit behind on story, so I'm not sure if he's actually appeared in-game yet, but he looks actually insane. He has those shark teeth. So Boothill is also a physical character, but travels the hunt path. We have so many strong AoE characters that if he's literally only doing single target, then I don't think he can compete with the newer characters. But let's talk about his kit, because it does actually sound pretty interesting. So starting with his skill, or E, all this really does is select a single opponent and enter a dual state with them, which basically means Boothill will deal more damage to that enemy, and that enemy will deal more damage to him. It will also taunt the enemy, making them more likely to attack Boothill, so depending on if he's going to be naturally tanky or not, someone like Fushun could really help to ease the burden. Anyway, the last thing his skill does is enhance his basic attack. At first I thought his skill is the thing doing the damage, but it's not. It seems like using his skill doesn't cost a turn or anything because in this preview, they do the skill and then do the enhanced basic right away. Very much like Don Il and his enhanced basics. Talking about his talent or his passive now, when an enemy that is currently in the dual state is either weakness broken or defeated, Boothill will gain a special stack down there. They don't say anything about what these stacks do, but with a bit of observation, I can tell you they don't get consumed when doing his ultimate or his skill, so I just have to assume right now they're just permanent buffs for him. Once you get those 3 stacks, he'll keep them for the remainder of the battle, and they'll most likely just increase stats or damage percent. And then finally, his ultimate, it's probably one of the coolest ultimates I've ever seen for Star Rail, honestly. He'll grab like a little wanted poster with the actual enemy picture on it, which is super neat. The attack itself is pretty simple though. It's a single target attack that will delay the enemy's action. By how much? They don't say. I would imagine since it's single target, it should be a pretty significant amount. His technique is pretty straightforward. He'll attack the enemy, and after using his skill for the first time, he'll do some extra damage to the toughness meter. Because Boothill is a new character and he is purely single target, I have to assume he's going to be one-shotting things. But without knowing the specifics, that's basically a guess at this point. We will see when he's in the game. We also got a massive new boss here, a new weekly boss, or Echo of War. Looks absolutely insane. I am going to guess at least one of the new characters needs these materials. They did specifically mention Boothill. Robin's trace materials, thankfully, are from the last weekly boss or this bug. Next up, we got the banners. Robin is coming first, which I'm happy about. I am more excited about her, if I'm totally honest, just because I love Harmony characters, though Boothill does look very interesting. Topaz and Numby will be there as well, and they are also a single target hunt character, but they definitely focus a lot more on follow-up attacks, so not exactly the same, but still, they have a similar role in that single target damage. So if past experience is anything to go by, I would probably skip Topaz and just wait for Boothill if you're specifically looking for power. Of course, her and Topaz's signature Lycone will also be there. Next I got, ooh, we have Fushun coming back. Haven't gotten around to doing the God mode for Aventurine yet, so I'm not totally sure who I currently prefer as my default defensive support. Most likely for my Acheron team, it will still be Aventurine, but Fushun for probably most else. But damn, for those that don't have Fushun, I would say this is going to be a tough one. I mean, it's going to come down to how strong Boothill really is, but even I'm just considering getting some copies of Fushun instead. We also have a new Nihility 4-star Lycone here. They say it'll be included in the warp. No hopes of getting this like free R5 from an event or something. But yeah, moving on to events now, we got Clocky Dreamjoy Memoir. We got to repair a screen. We'll be directing and editing films. They're pretty vague on the actual details, but we'll be dealing with some dice. We can also create commercials. But yeah, from what I gathered, we're basically going to be putting clips together, sort of editing in a way. Definitely different. We'll see how it plays out in game. Oh, but we do get an event Lycone for tomorrow's journey here. Looks like a Harmony cone. That's pretty nice. Next up, we got the Legend of Galactic Baseballer. This one appears to be mostly combat focused. So you fight waves of enemies and those enemies will give you experience. And once you level up, you can actually select some buffs or weapons or items or stuff like that, kind of like simulated universe. Honestly, sounds really fun. I love the traditional RPG elements of like getting XP, and then when you level up, you can choose a new thing or choose to upgrade your existing weapons or whatever. So yeah, actually sounds really nice. Our next event is all about Boothill. I guess we're basically investigating Boothill for some rewards. This is kind of similar to like the assignment event we had a while ago. I do remember though that if you waited too long to do that event, you are kind of locked out of the rewards, so try not to procrastinate on this one. Gift of Odyssey again, always cool to see a free tin pull in there. We'll get a new Stagnant Shadow. Both of the new characters need these materials for their ascension. Double relics are back with Planar Fissure. Garden of Plenty for the double other resources. And finally, to wrap it up, system optimizations. We'll have a new function that shows battle records, I guess like how well you've done in the various in-game content like Memory of Chaos and Pure Fiction. You can now see exactly what all your friends are doing, whether they're in Simulated Universe, Forgotten Hall, or whatever else. Also in Forgotten Hall and Pure Fiction, you can actually look at what your friends used to clear the stage and how many stars they got with their lineup. So if you're struggling to figure out which team you should use, this is a quick like reference if you have the same characters as one of your friends, for example. If you don't want to share the teams you used, you can also turn this function off though. I don't see why you would though. Okay, that's a really neat feature as well. You can get a sort of list of all the teams without having to actually scroll between them, and you can sort of pick them at a glance. That's nice. Very much like Genshin's star system, you can now add stars to characters and they'll always be at the top. I sort of just figured they had that already, but I never used it. But okay, they have it now. But yeah, that was basically it for the version 2.2 special program for Honkai Star Rail here. Pretty standard overall, though I gotta say, Robin looks absolutely insane. I mean, team-wide, full 100% action advancement is something. I will say I am overall more curious about Boothill because basically all of his potential is a bit shrouded in mystery right now without knowing the specifics. Let me know what you think about the new characters or anything else from version 2.2 in the comments down below though. Dropping a like or subscribing to the channel if you enjoy is always greatly appreciated as well. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.